when Seattle traded center Max Unger to the New Orleans Saints in 2015 for tight end Jimmy Graham, the move was met with mixed reactions. Graham, who had become a star receiving target for quarterback Drew Brees with the Saints, seemed like he would become a deadly weapon for Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson, as well. But, at the same time, many wondered if that would matter if the Seahawks' offensive line suffered with the loss of Unger. Well, the line did suffer, and in the end, Graham's contributions in Seattle, although strong, 2,048 yards, 18 touchdowns in 3 seasons, on the receiving end, were negatively offset by his lack of run-blocking ability. The football world should always view the Unger for Graham deal as one of the greatest examples of how the flash and sexiness of an offensive weapon can prove to be no match for the grit and heart of an offensive line that makes everything go. This week, Unger, drafted by the Seahawks out of Oregon in the second round in 2009, called it a career. His run should be regarded as one of the greatest ever put forth by a former Oregon offensive lineman. He's easily the best center to ever come out of UO. The gold standard for NFL offensive linemen out of Oregon is Gary Zimmerman, who is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. During Unger's 10 years, 4 in New Orleans, Unger made it to 3 Pro Bowls, was named All-Pro in 2012 with Seattle, appeared in 2 Super Bowls with the Seahawks and won one following the 2013 season. Just 32, Unger told reporters that his ailing body told him to retire. "At the end of the day, I guess I'm retiring because I didn't think I could make it through another season," Unger said. "I've got some health issues and you kind of evaluate how you're playing and where you see life after football going. And I just made the decision to retire." Unger explained that he has some lower body issues that made it difficult for him to get into his stance and would require surgery. That process, he said, would take most of the off-season, so he decided that it's simply time for him to leave the game. "Just looking back, I'm getting older," he said. "There's no way for me to replicate the play of me 5 years ago, or a couple of years ago, and that's just the reality of life. And that's a tough pill to swallow, too. But that factors in. Was I playing bad? No. Was I playing up to my standard? I don't think so, either. So that was a factor. Sorry to see Unger go," as Brees, who posted the following on Instagram. "I had the great honor of playing 62 games with Max Unger as my center. There is no better teammate or leader. I'm going to miss you, brother." The deal worked out well for the Saints, who in the process also got a first-round pick from Seattle, making the exchange highway robbery. The move, Unger said, surprised him when it happened. "I was not expecting to be traded," he said. "I loved my time in Seattle. I liked living up there. I was close to a lot of things. It's a good setup for me. And then I got traded down here. I'd never lived in the South. I'd only really ever lived on the West Coast. Get down here, new city, new team, new system. It was hard. And then we kind of got into it. And it ended up working out." With his career over, Unger said he is looking forward to the next chapter in his life. "It's not easy," he said. "This is obviously not. It's not easy. There's a lot of very close relationships and guys that I have a lot of respect for, and to have to call them and tell them this, it's tough. But the last month, I think I came to the realization that I was done." 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, made his NCAA tournament bracket public. A peek into his picks shows that Obama likes Oregon to beat Wisconsin and UC Irvine in the round of 32 to advance to the Sweet 16, just in the nick of time. "My brackets have never been my one shining moment, but here we go again. You can check out my 12 tournament champions and on an 8-game winning streak. The Ducks' defensive prowess has become highly entertaining to watch. Fun fact, Oregon is the most bet-on team and the matchup has the lowest over-under line in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Defensive surge. In the last 8 games, Oregon is holding opponents to shooting 34.6% from the field and 23.1% from 3. Also, the Ducks have held opponents to 62 points or less during the winning streak, except the overtime win against Arizona State in the Pac-12 tournament semifinals. Records: Oregon 23-12, Wisconsin 23-10. History: Friday will mark the third time in the last 6 years that Oregon and Wisconsin have met on March 22 in the NCAA tournament. Wisconsin won the first 2 NCAA meetings and is 5-2 all-time versus the Ducks. The Badgers have won 10 of their last 11 opening round NCAA tournament games, holding teams to 55.9 points per game in the initial game. I'll hail Dana Altman. With 4 wins in the 2019 Pac-12 tournament, Dana Altman became the winningest coach in tournament history, 19, surpassing Arizona's Sean Miller. Oregon and Altman have finalized a contract extension through the 2025-26 season. High-flying Ducks. When Peyton Pritchard goes, the Ducks go. He is averaging 15.8 points per game with 39 assists, 22 steals and just 11 turnovers during Oregon's 8-game winning streak. This will be a particularly important game for the junior guard to stay hot. During the Pac-12 tournament he had 22 assists with only 4 turnovers. Pritchard's final bucket in the tournament was a nasty dunk and a smile that solidified him as the tournament's most outstanding player. Luce King is coming off of a great Pac-12 tournament, scoring in double figures in all 4 games and named to the Pac-12 All-Tournament team. The 6'9" forward scored in double figures in all but 2 Pac-12 games to become the No. 2 freshman scorer in conference play, averaging 14.5 points per game. Kenny Wooden swatted his way to 4 blocked shots in the Pac-12 tournament title game. He finished the tournament with 10, a new Pac-12 record, and the Ducks set the Pac-12 tournament record for blocks with 23. Badgers to keep an eye on. Wisconsin has one of the best players in the entire tournament in Ethan Happ. The 4-year starter averages 17.5 points, 10.1 rebounds and 4.6 assists per game, which makes him the nation's only player averaging at least 16.0 PPG, 10.0 RPG and 4.0 APG. He's on constant double-double watch. He ranks 5th in the NCAA with 21 double-doubles, tying the Wisconsin school record that has stood for 50 years. Wisconsin led the Big Ten, allowing just 60.3 points per game during conference play. Overall, the Badgers are 9th in the NCAA, allowing 61.4 points per game. The Badgers like to control the inside. They outscored opponents in the paint every game except 2 in conference play. Prediction: Oregon and Wisconsin have similarities in slow offensive pace and a stingy defense. I think this game will come down to turnovers and points off turnovers. The Ducks have excelled at forcing turnovers and average 7.8 steals per game. If Pritchard stays hot and Ducks can come up with a plan to slow down Happ, I predict Oregon will win its first-round matchup. How and where to watch. Time: Friday, March 22, 1:35 p.m. Where? SAP Center, San Jose, California. TV, TBS. More Ducks. Ducks most bet on NCAA tournament team. Should you take the gamble? Leap: NCAA Women's Tournament bracket reveals Ducks as No. 2 seed Dylan Mitchell gets real about his decision to go pro, which NFL teams he met with at the Combine. Chemistry: Herbert. NBC Sports Northwest experts cast their NCAA tournament predictions. Former Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota shouldn't be considered a bust 4 years into his NFL career with the Tennessee Titans. That designation would be patently unfair. However, it's clear that the 2014 Heisman Trophy recipient has yet to distinguish himself as a star in the NFL, if is even a legitimate building block at the most important position for a potential championship contender. A proper grade for Mariota's career to date would be incomplete. For that reason, and the realities of financial obligations surrounding the most important single position in any team sport, Tennessee was wise to acquire quarterback Ryan Tannehill and a 6th-round pick in 2019 for a 4th-round pick in 2020 and a 7th-round pick this year. Mariota is due to make $21 million this season on the final year of his rookie deal. Tennessee has not indicated that it will seek to sign Mariota, 25, to an extension until after he proves himself this upcoming season. And why should they? Mariota has not demonstrated that he is worthy a team tying up $100 million with huge long-term cap hits to a quarterback that has not proven to be a franchise guy. That's exactly the reason why Miami moved Tannehill, 30, after 7 seasons with the Dolphins. In 2015, he signed a contract extension worth $96 million that tied him to Miami through 2020. But instead of continuing with that deal, Miami decided to move on from Tannehill and take a cap hit of about $13.4 million this season in order to free up money sooner and find another quarterback in the process. Miami took a chance on Tannehill and it didn't pay off. Tennessee is trying to avoid making the same mistake with Mariota and has signed Tannehill as insurance in case the former Duck is injured or simply does not perform well. The Titans will be in a position to either sign Mariota long-term should he elevate his play, or franchise tag him in 2020 and make him prove it again, or let him go with no cap ramifications and go with Tannehill in 2020, or completely start over at quarterback without a huge financial obligation at that position. Titans general manager John Robinson has stated that Mariota is the starter and that Tannehill is being brought in as the backup. But he is no ordinary backup. He is a former full-time starter that has had some success and would offer a much better option to turn to than Blaine Gabbert did last season. Robinson met with the media today and talked about Mariota's progress from his injury that slowed him last season. He said he's feeling good, working out and moving around, throwing, Robinson told reporters. I think he's going to come back here a little bit before the appointed time, April 15th, and get some work in. I'm looking forward to getting back to work with him, excited to have him back on our football team. Look forward to it. Mariota has been brilliant at times. In his second season, he passed for 26 touchdowns with 9 interceptions and appeared to be on the fast track to stardom. But his season ended late in the year when he fractured his fibula. The impacts of that injury appeared to linger the following season and he regressed, passing for just 13 touchdowns with 15 interceptions. Tennessee used a potent running game and solid defense to overcome the lack of a quality passing game and reached the playoffs, where Mariota orchestrated a second-half comeback at Kansas City that resulted in a playoff victory for the Titans. Last season, Mariota began slowly after an elbow injury cost him some time. He was magnificent on several occasions. September 30th vs. Philadelphia, Mariota had arguably his best performance as a professional when he threw for 344 yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception and had the game-winning touchdown pass in overtime to defeat Philadelphia 26-23. He also rushed for a touchdown in November 5 at Dallas. Mariota threw for 240 yards on 21 of 29 passing with 2 touchdowns and ran for another in a 28-14 Monday night win at the Cowboys. November 11th vs. New England, Mariota completed 16 of 24 passes for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions in a 34-10 win over New England. November 26 at Houston, Mariota completed 22 of 23 passes for 303 yards and 2 touchdowns in a loss to the Texans. The problem was that Mariota had trouble staying healthy, twice going down with injuries. He also closed the season with 0 touchdown passes over his final 3 appearances, all victories, to finish with 11 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions on the season. In 29 starts over the past 2 years, Mariota has thrown just 24 touchdowns with 23 interceptions. Compare those numbers to Tannehill's final 2 healthy seasons in Miami. He missed the entire 2017 season with a knee injury. When over 24 starts he threw for 36 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. On paper, one would wonder why Tennessee is even bothering with allowing Mariota to be the presumptive starter in 2019. But there are plenty of reasons why one shouldn't give up on Mariota just yet. First, and maybe foremost, he has had 3 head coach in 4 seasons. Ken Whisenhunt was the man in 2015 when the Titans drafted Mariota but was let go after a 1-6 start and replaced by Mike Mularkey. Mariota had his best season under Mularkey and won a playoff game the following season. But the Titans let him go following the 2017 season to hire Mike Vrabel. He is now on his second offensive coordinator after Matt LaFleur left Tennessee after one season to take the same job in Green Bay. The Titans elevated former tight ends coach Arthur Smith to offensive coordinator. Needless to say, a revolving door of head coaches and offensive coordinators is not very quarterback-friendly. Also, Tennessee has been very average at wide receiver during Mariota's career. Dorial Green Beckham led team wide receivers in 2015 with 549 yards. Richard Matthews led the team in 2016 with 945 yards and in 2017 with 795. Corey Davis, the fifth overall pick in 2017, led Titans wide receivers with 891 last year and appears to be on track to becoming a legit star. Maybe the lack of a true no. One receiver over the years and then the season-ending injury to tight end Delanie Walker last season, have certainly worked against Mariota's progress as a quarterback. But blaming the receivers only goes so far. What we know about Mariota is that he still can move around at an elite level with his feet, he is extremely accurate on short and intermediate throws and he doesn't make a ton of mistakes. Although he still suffers from some ball security issues in the pocket that popped up from time to time when he was at Oregon, Mariota, just like when he was at Oregon, has not proven to be a great downfield passer. He doesn't scare teams deep. Your best NFL quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes too, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, etc., can all strike fear in the hearts of defenses with the threat of the long touchdown pass. With Mariota, so far, not so much. One thing that must be pointed out is that Mariota's overall efficiency last season was at a career high. His passer rating of 92.3 ranks behind his second season, 95.6, only if we include the 2 interceptions he threw during the season-opening loss to Miami that occurred on 2 throws made after he injured his right elbow and still tried to play through the numbness in his passing hand. Take those passes out of the equation and Mariota's passer rating pops up a bit to a career high of 96.6. But that would only rank 15th in the NFL during an era when a rating of 100 or better is the gold standard. Plus, with the season on the line, Mariota was unable to play against the Colts in the final regular season game. The Titans, who started Gabbert, lost 33-17. It's safe to say that the 2019 season is Mariota's final audition for the Titans in an attempt to convince them to give him a fat new contract. He must stay healthy, put up 35 to 30 total touchdowns, lead the team to the playoffs, and show that he is worthy of a long-term investment. Should he fail, Mariota could be on the move next season, and it might be to find a job similar to the one Tannehill has now. After Oregon's victory in the Red Box Bowl, Duck star wide receiver Dillon Mitchell told the media he was undecided on whether he would stay for his senior season or declare for the 2019 NFL Draft. Mitchell felt fans didn't get the full story and wanted to clear up why he made his decision. In an exclusive one-on-one with Dillon Mitchell and NBC Sports NW's Oregon Duck insider, Bree Amaranthus, he dives into how his decision played out. Which teams did Mitchell meet with at the NFL Combine? Also, apparently Mitchell's family are quite the Oakland Raiders fans, man cave and all. As Oregon's single-season receiving yards record holder, Mitchell looks back on his chemistry he had with quarterback Justin Herbert. Also, no surprise his favorite memory from last season was beating rival Washington. Which NFL player does Mitchell model his game after? Stay tuned for more updates on Mitchell. The NFL Draft begins Thursday, April 25th. NFL Combine performances may raise Ducks draft stocks. It's do or die. Ducks leave it all on the field at Oregon Pro Day. Which team is going to fall in love with Dillon Mitchell? The NCAA tournament announcement comes with the excitement of filling out your bracket and maybe placing some bets. Every year, March is a little mad, which causes fans to study and search for their Cinderellas and sure bets. Will St. Mary's pull the upset over Villanova? Are you picking UC Irvine to be the next UMBC? What about the Ducks? No. 12-seed Oregon will play number 5 seed Wisconsin in the first round of the South region. The latest line has Wisconsin as a 1-point favorite and a 118 total point over, under, lowest of any first-round game in the NCAA tournament. Turns out, the matchup has become the most bet-on game in the NCAA tournament. The most bet-on NCAA tournament game so far is the Oregon-Wisconsin game. Not a surprise since the public is excited about the Ducks' 8-game winning streak. William Hill though says while 70% of the tickets are on Oregon to cover as 1-point dogs, only 57% of the dollar is on UO. Darren Rovell, at Darren Rovell, March 19, 2019. What should you do? A look at recent history shows that putting money down for the Ducks has paid out. Oregon has made a drastic change in the last 3 weeks and are riding an 8-game winning streak into the NCAA tournament, including 4 victories to become Pac-12 tournament champions. Oregon won 6 of those 8 games by double digits. Most importantly, for your wallet, in each of those wins, Oregon has covered the spread. March 16, 19 Oregon vs. UW, the Ducks were 1.5-point favorites and beat the Huskies by 20 points. March 15, 19 Oregon vs. ASU, the Ducks were 2-point favorites and beat the Sun Devils by 4 points. March 14, 19 Oregon vs. Utah, the Ducks were 4.5-point favorites and beat the Utes by 12 points. March 13, 19 Oregon vs. WSU, the Ducks were 11.5-point favorites and beat the Cougars by 33 points. The 9th of March, 19 Oregon at UW, the Ducks were 6-point underdogs and beat the Huskies by 8 points. The 6th of March, 19 Oregon at WSU, the Ducks were 7-point favorites and beat the Cougars by 11 points. The 2nd of March, 19 Oregon vs. Arizona, the Ducks were 4.5-point favorites and beat the Wildcats by 26 points. February 28, 19 Oregon vs. ASU, the Ducks were 1.5-point favorites and beat the Sun Devils by 28 points. Another note, for your wallet. Every game has gone under, except the overtime win against Arizona State in the Pac-12 tournament semifinals. March 16, 19 Oregon vs. UW over, under 119.5 total points, result, 116 points, under March 15, 19 Oregon vs. ASU over, under 134 total points, result, 154 points, over March 14, 19 Oregon vs. Utah over, under 137 total points, result, 120 points, under March 13, 19 Oregon vs. WSU over, under 137 total points, result, 135 points, under the 9th of March, 19 Oregon at UW over, under 124.5 total points, result, 102 points, under the 6th of March, 19 Oregon at WSU over, under 142.5 total points, result, 133 points, under the 2nd of March, 19 Oregon vs. Arizona over, under 130 total points, result, 120 points, under February 28, 19 Oregon vs. ASU over, under 138 total points, result, 130 points, under, all odds via Bovada. Oregon's defensive prowess has become highly entertaining to watch. But can the Ducks slow down Wisconsin's top offensive player and 4-year starter, Ethan Happ? Don't come pounding on my door if Oregon loses or it goes over, but I had to point out the trend. If you've been betting the Ducks and the under, you've been making some major money. Selection Monday came 4 hours earlier than expected, but we now know the Oregon women's basketball team has dancing in the NCAA tournament. Oregon, 29-4, will play as the number 2 seed in the Portland region, hosting 15-seed Portland State 25-7, in the first round on Friday at 6 p.m. Both the first and second rounds of the tournament will be held at Matthew Knight Arena. If the Ducks advance Friday, they will face the winner of No. 7 Texas and number 10 Indiana on Sunday in Eugene. Oregon could quite possibly play in its home state all the way to the Final Four. The Moda Center in Portland will host two semifinal games on March 29 and the regional championship game on March 31. Last season, the Ducks made it to the Elite Eight, falling to eventual NCAA champions, number 1 Notre Dame. Oregon will once again look to make it to the Final Four, a feat the Ducks have yet to accomplish in program history. ESPN inadvertently leaked the NCAA tournament bracket 4 hours early on Monday. As a result, teams around the country canceled their selection show watch party. Oregon was one of them. Today's selection show watch party at Matt Arena has been canceled. ESPN accidentally released the bracket early and is currently airing the selection show now instead. Our apologies to fans who made plans for today's event. Oregon women's basketball at OregonU, March 18, 2019. So at ESPN is gonna leak the bracket and then proceed to ruin everyone's selection show party by changing the time. Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy. Go Ducks, am I right baby chick? Sabrina Ionescu, at Sabrina_I20, March 18, 2019. Are you itching to get your March Madness bracket started? Just announced, the Oregon Ducks get an extra day and play close to home. After crushing the Pac-12 champion Washington Huskies to take the Pac-12 tournament crown and the conference's automatic berth to the NCAA tournament, Oregon, 23-12, is the No. 12 seed in the South region and will open the tournament against No. 5 seed Wisconsin, 23-10. The first round of the NCAA tournament will be played on Friday at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. The way this team has fought, it's been special, junior guard Peyton Pritchard said. We're just ready to make something happen. The Ducks have caught fire and are riding on a dangerous 8-game winning streak. Oregon reached the big dance for the 6th time in 7 years after becoming the first team in Pac-12 tournament history to defeat the top 3 seeds on the way to winning the title. During the CBS Selection Sunday broadcast, Seth Davis called Oregon maybe the hottest team in the country right now, and picked the Ducks to beat the Badgers. If Oregon wins, it will face the winner of the No. 4 seed Kansas State and number 13 seed UC Irvine on Sunday. 3 Pac-12 teams landed in the NCAA tournament: Oregon, Washington and Arizona State. Washington is the No. 9 seed in the Midwest region playing No. 8 seed Utah State, 26-8, in Columbus, Ohio on Friday. The winner will play number 1 seed North Carolina or number 16 seed Iona. Arizona State will play a first 4 game versus St. John's in the West region. Oregon coach Dana Altman long ago cemented his status as a great coach, but what he has done this season should be remembered among his greatest accomplishments. There is really no earthly reason why this Ducks team should have won the Pac-12 tournament, as it did tonight with a 68-48 destruction of Washington, the conference's best team during the regular season in Las Vegas, Nevada, let alone reach the NCAA tournament, which is now a certainty. Yet, here sits Oregon, 23-12, headed to March Madness with a serious opportunity to steal a win or two. There is only one person to point to as the main reason for this reality, and that's Altman, who successfully poked and prodded his team for months while transforming them into a defensive force that has reduced opposing offenses to mush during an 8-game winning streak. I think we grew up a lot as a team, Altman told reporters following Saturday night's win over the Huskies. Everybody kind of gave themselves to the team. Every one of them gave up a little bit of what they wanted to do for what the team needed them to do. Getting this team to buy in was no easy task. It became clear early on this season that the Ducks' offense was suspect. Junior guard Peyton Pritchard hadn't taken the next step. 5-star recruit Louis King began the season on the sideline injured and got off to a slow start on offense when he hit the court. Only fellow 5-star recruit, Bull provided consistent firepower early on. But he went down for good with a foot injury before conference play began. The Ducks began conference play with losses to Oregon State and UCLA, and so began an up-and-down trek through the Pac-12 that had Oregon stuck around .500 before sinking into a quagmire with a messy 3-game losing streak to Oregon State, USC and UCLA. That stretch seemed to doom Oregon's chances of reaching the NCAA tournament even if the Ducks managed to win 20-plus games, given how mediocre the conference has been all season. The only logical path